Maybe wasn't my finest hour. We did cover it out. We did something.
Yep, other people take their seats. I think we can do that. Where do you want to go? Oh, can you take a...
No, I know, that's the problem. That's it. Had me cuddle first of all. That's a good start, isn't
I
it?
saw you struggling with the wind there.
Yes,
There's a
I know.
massive
I
gust.
know.
Apparently we could Sam was saying if you were talking about
Okay.
Watch those ones.
Can't see anything that says reserved on it for us, but take the first two, shall we?
Yeah, go on then. You're not going to have a very good view. Watch.
Am I caught up in?
No, you're free now. Just stand.
I'll be fine.
Good?
Right. Perfect view. All right. You right here, or can you move further back? Sure. Don't mind. Any of those have been used. Look. That's just great. Slightly repulsive. So the monster. Big boy. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Need to go. quite good for yeah.
You're all well covered. Well done, how are you? Nice to see you. There are black ones. There are some black ones. Yeah. Would you like one? That's a good pair, you know, not quite as good as, but in my opinion, coppers.
There's a stranger. How are you? Hi. Nice to see you.
Right. Have you got your checkbook ready, or are you just watching?
Ben.
You don't want to be sitting at the front. Top there.
I'll just wait to get in.
It's in the marquee over there. You go in, and there's a ladies' loo there, just as you go into that marquee, and then straight on through to the bottom of the right. So, and then you'll find your place in the the tables.
Thank you very much.
stretch my legs here. Right there. Yeah, I'm going to struggle there, aren't I?
Shall I give a thumbs up whenever we're ready?
All good? You haven't phoned.
Who's on time?
You haven't phoned. You didn't phone.
Give me two, I'm going to turn it down for you.
Park.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry. One for a coffee or a pee.
Black.
No, I'm in a different syndicate. Yeah. I'm trying to see the two, know them by sight.
Harry says he can't be heard. He's about to start.
No. Can anyone hear me? Ah, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody, and welcome, a very, very warm welcome to Highclere Stud and to our 2024 Yearling parades. This is only the second year in 33 years of doing parades with 2 days each year that we've had any sort of fear of rain and wind and all the rest of it. So we've been very fortunate, and actually, thankfully, it's not too cold. Hopefully you're all right under cover, but obviously give the yearlings a little bit of leeway. Youngsters coming out, maybe the odd flap from a marquee or whatever, or a gust of wind, but hopefully it will be fine. Also, welcome to all looking on the live stream, broadcast around the world. You're very welcome also. My nephew, Jake Warren, the master who's bought us so many good horses, inherited his father's brilliant eye, and thankfully the success has continued. We've had a wonderful year. It's sort of remarkable stats, really. We've had 23% of our horses, of all runners this year, well over 100 runners, have competed in listed or group races. And of that 23%, a very high percentage, something like 23%, 22% have actually finished in the first 4, which is pretty remarkable. And that's what it's all about. It's trying to race at the highest level and give yourself, hopefully with Highclere, and these new group of horses, the chance, best possible chance to do that. We've had lots of international racing this year. Some of you have lived on an aeroplane. Those with Believing and Soprano and others have had travelled the world, which is so exciting. Nothing more thrilling than an international runner. So we've just got back from 3 weeks plus at the sales, and I feel a bit like a broken record because I'm sure I say this every year. I can't tell you how difficult it was. The sales were blah. But the stats tell the story. Jake, I mean, we have never been in a market this strong before. We've got Tattersalls Book 1. The average price of a yearling in Book 1 was 370,000 guineas. The percentage of that is 52% up on last year, and the median is just under 40% up. Tricky. And then Book 2, obviously, that was sucked up as well. That was 26% up. The average was 108,000 for Book 2. Normally, it's round about 70,000. But look, the usual rules apply.
Well, I think that's it, Uncle H. The usual rules apply. We have a system that was developed by my father and has been in place for over 40 years now on buying yearlings, and it revolves around doing as much work in time for the sale as you possibly can, and being ahead of it, vetting a lot of horses, doing your research, creating a list, and making sure that you're organised so that when and if a gap appears in a hot market, you're there and ready to pounce. I told someone, a fellow agent last week, that we vetted 104 horses in Book 1, and his jaw hit the floor. He couldn't believe that we'd vetted that many horses. But in the process of doing that, it gives us the flexibility and the ability to strike and take advantage of a gap when it comes. So we feel if we invest in the system and we invest in it properly, we can get chances at these big sales. Because as Uncle H just said, it's an average of £370,000 to buy a yearling in Book 1 this year, which is just extraordinary. So to be able to come away with buying 3 or 4 horses there was a tremendous feat. But the system has thrown up some lovely horses over the years. Thank God it's still working under the relationship that Uncle Harry and I have now. And Dad's been there at the sales as well, overseeing and helping shortlist and getting through it all. So it's been a great year for us on the track, and hopefully some lovely yearlings to show you today.
So the usual rules apply. We'll parade the horses one by one in book order that you have in front of you. After the parades, you'll be able to go and see the horses in their respective stables and get up close and touchy-feely and try and get a vibe. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's that sort of gut feeling of what what you like most about the horse. We don't know. We don't know that these are the best 10 horses that we could possibly come up with. But as to which one will be, the next star, who knows? But there will be more than one lurking. And Charlie, who is over here with well rugged up, will, as always, be there to take your choices after the parade. Charlie is going to stand afterwards at the end there in the archway. Must be easier for her there, so you won't miss her should you wish to plunge, or maybe buy another one, who knows. But let's get started. So we're going to start with the Willow syndicate, and this is a 20-share syndicate. Cost of the horse here, an 80,000 guinea daughter of Star Spangled Banner. It's £9,850 a share, and there are a few shares available in this syndicate. And this filly was bought, Jake, from Book 1.
Bought from Book 1, so eligible for the very lucrative and very achievable Book 1 bonus, £25,000 to those that win a maiden race. She's a very, very racy filly, this, and in exactly the mould of what Star Spangled Banner gets. And those of you that know Soprano and that are in Soprano, and those of you that know a bit about this stallion, he had a beautiful filly called Milal as well, who won the Cheveley Park. Very, very similar make and shape to this filly. They're 2-year-olds. They do get out early and run. He's had a lot of Royal Ascot success as a stallion, but they obviously train on at 3 like we've seen with Soprano. And this filly's got all those hallmarks. Lovely depth to her, very, very strong, very forward going, and critically, a really, really good, attractive pedigree. She's out of a Dark Angel mare who's speed. He's obviously speed, Star Spangled Banner, and the mare is a full sister to a Group 2 winning 2-year-old. So it's a very fast, precocious family, and Star Spangled Banner gets on really well with those sort of mares. She's not overly heavy, which is what we like. Again, I think those of you that know Soprano, she's lighter on her feet. She's a bit more streamlined physically than some of the Star Spangled Banners can be, and she's got a terrific action. And this filly's got all of those things in spades. She was an example of where Book 1, you can get a gap. This filly was born and raised at Highclere. We put her in the Book 1 sale thinking she'd make 200. And sometimes it doesn't happen because the market can separate from you. And this filly, we've known all about her. She's been a very good filly to rear, very straightforward. And we're thrilled to have bought her. I wasn't going to let anyone else have her, knowing how good I think she could be.
Well, she's going to be trained by Ollie Sangster. Ollie, who's made a fantastic start to his career. Group winners last year, Ollie, and this year, well done, another fantastic season. And for Highclere, we have Suspicion. 3 runs, 2 wins. Man is on fire. Training from the historic Manton stables near Marlborough. Ollie, great to have you aboard again. This is a cracking filly. I mean, Book 1 filly for 80 grand with a pedigree.
Yeah, hi, Harry.
Is that working?
Hello. Yeah, exciting to have her coming to the yard. Star Spangled Banner is a sire I've always liked. He's always done well. Obviously, plenty of you guys might be in the Soprano syndicate, so you'll enjoy seeing a Chestnut Star Spangled Banner filly. He had another 2-year-old filly win a stake yesterday at Leopardstown as well. So look, she looks exciting. She's eligible for the GBB bonus. Looks like she'll be a sharp 2-year-old, and it's exciting to have her come into the yard. Yep.
It's a great thing, these bonuses. 20 grand for the GBB and 25 grand to win a race next year. Well, that's a significant percentage back on the 80,000 that she costs. It's so tough for these fillies parading with this wind. But she's an absolute humdinger. And Ollie, always hard to know when you look at a physique now and they change and develop. But she's not weak, this filly, at this stage. She could go through a phase, but she looks like she might be a summer filly.
For sure, yeah, plenty of strength. Star Spangled Banner, you get a nice 2-year-old. The Dams by Dark Angel, again, a good 2-year-old sire. So you'd have every hope should have plenty of racing and plenty of action next year. And you'd hope she'd show up early, and some of those nice early 2-year-old races might be on the cards for her.
Great. Well, lovely to have you aboard again, and best of luck with her.
Cool. Thanks, Harry.
So there she is. Few shares left in her. Paper's getting wetter and wetter. £9,850 a share, and there are a few shares left in this gorgeous daughter of Star Spangled Banner. Right. We move on to the Aspen syndicate. And here you're going to see something very exciting. A daughter of first season sire Palace Pier. She cost 95,000 guineas right towards the end of Book 2 sale. This is a 20-share syndicate, 10,750 a share, and Richard Hannon will train her. Jake, first of all, talk us through Palace Pier.
Well, Palace Pier, for those of you that don't know about the stallion, he's by Kingman. He was bred here at Highclere Stud by my mother and father, and we sold him at Tattersall's a few years ago. John Gosden bought him. And
how much?
For 600,000 as a yearling. So he was a very, very good-looking yearling by Kingman. He went on to become a 3-year-old champion miler and then the world champion miler. He was the highest-rated miler in the world at the peak of his career, and he retired to stand at Darley for £45,000 for a covering fee. So he's a very, very high-class horse. His first crop have just hit the ground now, so what we're seeing are his first group of yearlings. They've all come onto the market this year. They've been very impressive and very like him. We always like to see stallions passing on similarities to their stock. It gives the buyers confidence and us confidence to know that they're imparting their physique and hopefully then their heart and their lungs and their temperament. And this filly is very much in the make and shape of him. Great barrel chest, really important physical on her, really important physique around her chest and her shoulder. We love to see that strength around where the heart and the lungs are all housed. That's a really important part of the athlete for us. But also a quality head on her and balanced. I think she's going to be a 2-year-old, you know, she's nice and together. What we also like to see when we're buying first season size is mares that have been successful. Because we're an unproven sire, but this is a proven mare that we're buying out of. And if you look at the pedigree page, you'll see Ancestral Land there is a 101 rated horse, and her second foal as well is rated 95 by a stallion called Advertise, who hasn't been the greatest success. So the mare is looking like she's a very good producer. And we love to see that when we're buying our first season sire. But this is a really, really racy filly. There's speed all through the pedigree. She looks really sharp. And knowing what we know about the stallion, I think she could be a really fun filly.
Well, it's going to be trained by Richard Hannon. And Richard, well done. Another fantastic season.
Yeah, not bad.
And this is a lovely filly.
Yeah, coincidentally, I went up to see Palace Pier at Darley Stud, and he really is a gorgeous-looking horse. And I do know John Gosden actually bought him on spec, which is unlike him. Doesn't have to do that very often. But yes, he looks a lovely filly. Yeah, I'm very pleased.
And it's nice that the dams produces 2 good horses.
Yeah.
Good 2-year-old Horace Hill placed animal.
Yeah, clearly she's an
and she
extremely
looks that
good
type.
Yeah,
Trainer Hannon to give all that early chat of top hat and tails and.
Yes, do you want me to do that? Oh,
yeah, go on.
Why don't I do it when it actually happens this year? Yeah, she does look very sharp, and you might start off at Windsor, somewhere like that, straight into the National Stakes, then to the one with the funny hats. I'm just looking at your trainers over there behind bars. It actually suits them, doesn't it? Look, behind the doors. And I'm sure they're taking the mickey. It does. Anyway, you're very pleased to have her. She's really sweet, and
it's very, very special. This is our 33rd consecutive year of having a horse with Team Hannon.
Yeah, that's a long relationship for me.
Dales. So, no, it's wonderful. The stable visits, if you haven't been to Herridge, it's a wonderful experience. Wonderful coffee, sausages, banter, him and his father.
Yes, he's still there. We have a museum, and he sits in the same place.
And then the champagne flows. It's more fun. Oh, and there's a racehorse.
Yeah, exactly. 2 or 3, yeah. And then we've got one called the Old Man's Horse because it's grey, and it's the one that he recognises from his chair every day and points to it. So
look, good to
you're
have
all
you
very
all
welcome
again.
anytime. It'd be great to see you, and thank you.
Not at all, boy. Best of luck with this lovely filly of amazing, absolute corker. Right at the end of book 2, it was a bit worrying actually, and she fell in the dark. Emily was there. Poor Jake suffering from the flu at the end, and we managed to buy her in our range. We're over the moon. Beautifully bred daughter of Palace Pier, and there are a few shares available, again at £10,750 a share. Thank you very much. Oh, my book is very wet. Now, we come to the Copper Beech Syndicate, and here is a son of brilliant sire, No Nay Never, one of the Jake, one of the leading sires standing at stud in Europe, without any question or doubt.
Absolutely. He stands at Coolmore. He stands for a fee of 150,000 euros. So he's one of the elite stallions in Europe, nay the world. He's had a phenomenal year again. He consistently gets high-class Group 1 2-year-olds every year. And to be able to buy them is tricky. It's very hard. The only thing with Coolmore stallions is that they do produce quite a lot of stock. So there are quite a large number of them out there, which means that we do get a chance to get them, because sometimes, you know, people buy one and they say, oh, I bought my no, nay, never, and therefore they don't buy another. But to get this fellow in Ireland was a real thrill, because he's got great presence about him. If you see him, he's got a really good quality head and jaw, really forward going, huge amount of depth and strength, and a little bit more scope than some of the no nay nevers that you can see, which can be quite short-backed and fast and precocious. I think this horse, when we're in Goffs, we're trying to find horses to win that 7 furlong million race. Of course, there's lots of other races that we'd like to win as well. But in order to be able to win that 7 furlongs on the Curragh, they've got to come up a bit of a stiff hill. So they've got to have a bit of strength, but also a bit of size. No Nay Never had the second in it this year. And this fella's from a beautiful family, very, very well bred. A little bit of stamina in the pedigree, but also a lot of strength about him. So I think he could be a horse that would be probably middle of the summer into the autumn at his 2-year-old career, and then into a nice 3-year-old. But he's a cracking individual, and by one of the best stallions there are in Europe.
No Nay Never, the sire of Whistlejacket this year, but so many others. Blackbeard, Little Big Bear, alcohol-free. I mean, the list goes on. And this fella's pedigree is really good. Out of a very good mare, who's already produced a group animal from the family of Echo of Light and Champion Flame of Tara and Champion Salsabil. So this is really well bought, this colt by Jake. And as you can see here, he's quite a special physical with a beautiful head. Remember my brother-in-law, Johnny Warren, talking so often about a horse's jaw. And you've mentioned it yourself already with the horses. This horse has got a fantastic jaw and outlook and depth and balance. Gorgeous son of No Nay Never, bred to run like the wind. Now, there are a couple of shares left in him. Andrew Balding will train, and this is a 20-share syndicate at 10,950 again per share, and he is eligible for the Goffs Million.
I think it's important also to note the Goff sale, the Orby sale, is before Book 1. And it's always a great dilemma when you're looking at horses before Book 1, whether to plunge and buy horses at a high level before the best horses have gone through the ring at Book 1. So quite often, some of the big buyers might hold a little bit of their powder at the Orby sale to make sure that they're going into Book 1 with bigger budgets. So quite often we can see in that Orby sale when we look back, and this year they've had 2 of the best 2-year-olds come out of that sale, the Lion in Winter and Bay City Roller, both came out of the Orby sale, and not for big prices compared to Book 1. And so quite often the sale can throw up some value, and I think this horse could fit into that kind of bracket.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Lovely son of No Nay Never. Thanks. Right. We move on, if my pages will turn, to the Silver Birch. Now here's a lovely colt. Here's a son of Galloway. Galloway, the son himself of Galileo, and he is a highly successful sire standing at stud in France. And this boy here is out of a Pivotal mare who was stakes placed herself, winner of 2 races, over 30,000. And of course, Pivotal is one of the world's leading broodmare sires with 176 stakes winners. Unbelievable, and headed this year by Jean-Luc Lagardère Group 1 winner Camille Pissarro. Jake, talk us through Galloway. This fellow's going to be trained by Sir Mark Prescott, and Mark will come up here in a second. Very pleased to welcome. I can't believe it's taken me this long to ask, but brave enough to ask him actually to be trained for Highclere, and he said he'd be delighted to. So he'll come up in a second. But Jake, talk us through this this boy, because he's bred to be a middle distance horse.
He's bred to be a middle distance horse. Galloway is going from strength to strength in France. He now stands to 30,000 euros. And in 2023, he had the highest number of group horses in France of any stallion crop so far to have got onto the track. Harry was mentioning just now Pivotal mares, and we love seeing proven crosses, and Galileo and Pivotal have been a phenomenal cross over the years, produced the likes of Magical and many other Group 1 horses. So it's a really well-trodden path, Galileo over Pivotal. And again, we're trying to make sure that the pedigree fits the individual. We're trying to make sure that what we're looking at in a type is also represented in the pedigree. And this horse is a lovely, loose, free-moving horse, bred to stay, bred to improve with age, and bred to go over probably a mile to a mile and a half as he gets older and more mature. But he's a lovely, lovely horse, lovely free mover, great looseness to the stride and a real pendulum swing on his shoulder, which we've loved to see. Some great horses that we've bought over the years have got this same rhythmic action. And the stallion is doing really, really well. So we're excited to get hold of one of these, and hopefully Sir Mark can take him to where we all want to go.
Well, Sir Mark, come on down for an interrogation. Actually, no, I hope you tell a story or two, and we won't worry about the other horses. This is the world's greatest raconteur. We've been on stage together a couple of times.
We have.
Is that working?
Yeah, I think so. Is it working? Yes.
Yeah.
So
speak up a bit.
But he's a lovely horse, and he looks our type, doesn't he? He looks as if he's going to stay.
Yeah.
And he's out of a Pivotal mare, and I was lucky enough to train Pivotal all those years ago. So he looks very suitable for Heath House, and he'll be at his best at 3. Yeah. Maybe go on at 4, won't he?
Yeah, he's got that sort of look. He's not sort of dissimilar. I know it's sort of silly to say these things sometimes, but that Galileo, that telescope was not dissimilar, type at the, as a yearling that we showed here. That wonderful sort of Galileo-y head and depth of shoulder. But yes, and one of the joys for you, obviously, is not seeing around your historic stables. What are some of the artifacts that you have in your stable?
Well, yes, we got St Simon's skin for anybody who's particularly macabre, and you're very welcome. It's a privilege to have you all. And when Harry asked me first, I think 30 odd years ago, to have one, and Harry said, "Oh, well, I asked you years ago to have one, and you didn't have it." And I said, "Well, it's desperate now. I mean." I plunged to the very depths. And, anyway, I'm sure this horse will get me out of it, and I hope a lot of you are part of him as well. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you very much. Lovely to have you aboard, Sir Mark Prescott. I tell you, whoever comes into the syndicate, you'll have, however good or indifferent the horses, you're going to have a hell of a fun time. So, lovely son of Galloway, 20 shares, 11,950 a share. And there are a few shares left, so do have a good look at him. He'll be a lot of fun. Thank you. Right, we move on to a lovely Blue Point filly, trained by George Bowie. 120,000 guineas she cost, £12,250 a share, 20 shares, and just a couple of shares left in this filly. Jake, before George comes up here, just talk us through her, because she's got a lovely pedigree. She's out of a Kingman mare. She traces to the wretched Tagruda, who beat Telescope in the King George, carrying about 7 stone 1, as a 3-year-old filly that had won the Oaks against poor Telescope as an elder horse. But this is a lovely pedigree, and the sire can do no wrong.
Yeah, the sire can do no wrong. Funny enough, Dad and I were just talking about it just now, about what makes a good stallion, and it's so hard to pinpoint what it is, but one of the things that I think a lot of us underestimate, because a horse to a certain degree on the outside can look very similar to another horse and another horse. It's what the parts are that we can't see that quite often we think make up these really, really prepotent stallions, and Blue Point has clearly been one of those. He's just got out with his 2-year-olds. He's been phenomenal. He's had Group 1 winners throughout. He's had a Guineas winner this year. He's had another Group 1 winner yesterday. He's clearly a prepotent sire. And what he must be doing is giving terrific heart, lungs, breathing apparatus, and minds to the horses. The bits that we can't see that are enabling those horses to do things that others just simply can't. And this filly has been bomb-proof. She's been so straightforward. Every time we've been down to see her, she's looked hardy and tough and strong. As you've noticed, a few others jumping around in the wind. She's standing still and strong. It's just one of those things, I think, that you get with stallions, that they just seem to put this mental attitude into them. And this filly's got a lot of that. She's also got a lot of the characteristics of Blue Point. They're very, very strong, very powerful horses. The Shamadal line comes through, and you see this terrific muscle and strength in the hind quarter and the rump. She's got that powerful front chest and depth. But I think what's also quite nice about this filly, she's got a bit of style about her, and I think that's coming from Kingman. And Kingman's got this quality look to him, so the pair of them, Kingman and Blue Point, are putting a lovely blend into this filly. I think she'd definitely be a 2-year-old, and I think she'll be precocious, but I think she's also got the scope and the female family and the pedigree to stay on and train at 3, which clearly Blue Point is capable of doing. So she's a really exciting filly, and one that we had to buy early. She was one of the first lots through the ring in book 2. As Harry said earlier on, it was a really difficult sale to get in amongst. And I think if this filly was selling later on in the sale, we would have had no chance in buying her. So we're thrilled to have got her, and I think she'll be a lot of fun.
She'll be trained by George. George Bowie needs a little introduction. Having a golden spell for Highclere Thoroughbred Racing, trainer of Cachet, the winner 1,000 guineas. And then, of course, Soprano and Believing. What a year it has been with those two fillies, well, and others, but those two in particular, and all their, you know, the toughness of both. But Believing is extraordinary.
Yeah, I think everyone probably thought I was a bit mad when we were going to Hong Kong at the start of the year and we were going to end up at Del Mar, but it's been an amazing year. I think probably the support of the owners and you guys allowing me to do what we wanted to do all year has given. I think there's a few bank balances that might be running out because of the air travel, but no, look, it's been an amazing year, and I think two 2-year-olds who we saw walk around here as yearlings who have both won their maidens and look like they're going to be stakes horses again for next year. So,
well, let's just talk us through Orchid, because Orchid is also a daughter of Blue Point, who we saw paraded here, and we were talking about being, you know, early possible Royal Ascot material, and then she changed and changed and changed, and thankfully in your patience let her change, and then she now looks like she might be running in a Guineas trial next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and this filly here is bred on a pretty similar cross. I think when I stood here last year, there was, you know, the speed influenced stallion dam sires were the ones that were really hitting it with Blue Point. But I think as the year's gone on, you know, there's a little bit of the Aga Khan pedigree down on the 4th dam here, and the Blue Point filly last year, Orchid, is out of Dalcova, who's from a very similar family. Yeah. So I don't expect her to be rock and roll early, very early, but she's a 2-year-old all up. I think sort of June, July onwards, she can be a lot of fun.
Well, great stuff, and well done again. How's Believing?
Yeah, very good. Emily always slightly takes the mickey out of me for saying she's never been better and that sort of thing, but she's a bit of a handful on Warren Hill at the moment, and that's usually when she's good. I spend 6 or 7 seconds in the stable with her, and that's more than enough because she's pretty lively at the moment. But I've got her on camera on my phone 24/7, and she's under the watchful eye, and off we go soon.
And Soprano, we went out to Keeneland to run in the Queen Elizabeth Group 1, ran a hell of a race, bumped into one that got up the inner and got away from her, but she finished second. You know, she was 3rd in the Matron, one of the most competitive fillies races of the year, without any question or doubt. And she is now in California and ready to roll.
She's done super. I think I blame myself for a lot of the distance that she's been running over, but it took a while to get her to relax and to actually see out the trip that her pedigree has always suggested that she wants. And it's a bit of a stab in the dark, the Breeders' Cup over 11 furlongs, but I was a little worried a furlong to go in Keeneland, and she hit the line so strong, and she's come out of it super. And Charles Edery, who's ridden her since she was a yearling, is bouncing about how she is. So need little more than that, really.
Great stuff. Well, look, well done again, and the best of luck with this beautiful daughter of Blue Point. Just a couple of shares available in her for, what was it, 11, 10, 9? 12,250. 12,250. And she looks a bit of a queen, doesn't she? by a top stallion, and Richard Hannon trains Rosalian, who of course won the Irish 2000 Guineas and the St James's Palace Stakes, also by Blue Point. Right, on we go to the Scots Pine. Now, William Haggis is training this, or will train this, absolutely gorgeous daughter of showcasing. 20 share syndicate, 12,450 a share, and 3 shares available in this syndicate only. She's by showcasing what a stallion he's been. Belbeck won the Prix Jean Luc Lagardère, Advertise, Mahatha won the Sussex Stakes. I mean, the list goes on and on. A real influence for speed. And this filly is out of the Dark Angel mare, Fly Me to the Moon. Unraced herself, but a half-sister to Secret Weapon, who won over $1 million in Hong Kong, and Code Red, listed winner and end of line. It's a very good producing mare from a wonderful baseline. Jake, this filly is all about explosive speed.
Absolutely, Uncle H. She is, she's a tank. She's level, she's powerful, she's together. She is absolutely made for her 2-year-old year. Showcasing's been phenomenally successful with his fillies, but the blend of Showcasing and Dark Angel is a really interesting one for 2-year-old speed. You can see the sheer size of her quarter. Her Gaskin muscle, which is the muscle just above her hock, is very, very pronounced and powerful. Huge, big, broad back end on her, and not over big. She is a medium-sized filly, bred to be a Royal Ascot 2-year-old. That is absolutely what we're going to be asking William to try and do. He keeps telling me that we buy him horses that aren't really 2-year-olds, and that's why we've selected this one for him this year, because this is an absolute 2-year-old through and through, by the sire of 2-year-old stallions, who's a sire of sires now, out of a Dark Angel mare. So I am confident that this will be the next Relief Rally.
Oh yeah, don't forget William has trained a Prue for us to win the Norfolk before, and we won 2 gym cracks together, so more than capable of training good top 2-year-olds, William. But yeah, I know we have sent you some horses that will need a bit more time, and one coming up at the end of the parade who will, but even you must agree that this one just might be early.
Yeah, I remember.
It's on.
I remember seeing her at the sale and took the first look at her and said, oh, way too fast for me. So, anyway, I have been badgering Harry. I'm so pleased in the notes. It says William is Highclere's longest serving trainer, not oldest trainer. And now Sir Mark's arrived. I'm definitely not the oldest trainer. But
did you work for Sir Mark?
I did, yes, long time ago.
That?
Well, if you're lucky enough to sit next to him, he'll tell you the one story that's lived in his memory and sadly in mine forever.
Go on.
But I get up early in the morning now. Yeah, I've been badgering Harry ever since. It was always the case. Richard Hannon Sr. always had the sharp ones, and now Richard Hannon Jr. gets them, and now Bowie gets them. So I've been saying, now please send me one of these sharper ones. We have won a gym crack and a Norfolk for you, so I'm delighted to have her, but not many excuses, I'm afraid. Next year she looks very strong and very racy. Let's hope she can fly.
But well, look, best of luck with her. She's got a really good pedigree, hasn't she? You know, she's a first foal out of a very well-bred daughter of Dark Angel, who Jake turning into a decent broodmare sire.
Absolutely, doing very, very well. Good broodmare sire. He's been around now for long enough to have been proven, and bred with speed, and speed is what we like to see. Monsieur on the bottom line as well. A nice bit of class coming through there. But a very, very level filly, and exactly what you would expect to see in a blend of Showcasing and Dark Angel.
Very good. Well, William, best of luck with her. We'll see you at Royal Ascot, and the very best of luck with her. She comes with fillies bonuses as well, so there's a bit of hopefully, if that can't win a race next year, I will eat my hat again, and hopefully you'll be seeing this Flying Grey lurking at Royal Ascot. A couple of shares left in her. Right, on we go, thank you. We move now, if I can get the right page, to the Cedar syndicate. And again, this is a 15-share syndicate. Rafe Beckett trains this son of Memas, race coming tomorrow, not here today. He cost 140,000 guineas. He's a very special colt. He's a very well-bred horse. He's a half-brother to a group winner and a listed winner from a wonderful family. Jake, this was one of those horses, you just don't want to leave the sale without.
Absolutely. It's probably another one of those situations in book one where, we're looking at lots and lots of horses, 450 of them in the sale, all beautifully bred, all by top stallions, all with mares that have produced good horses. And Maymas has had a phenomenal year. The day before the book one sale, he had a Group 1 winner in France as a 2-year-old. So it was a scenario of vet as many horses as we can that we like and be there and be ready to pounce. And for whatever reason, this horse fell into our range at 140,000, but he's an absolute belter. He's so mature and formed of his muscle, and if you get a chance to see him in his box later on, you'll just see on his shoulder and across his top line where the saddle sits, across the hind quarter, it's all very, very formed. There's no puppy fat there. This horse is going to be a ready-made 2-year-old for next year. But Maymas does get them to stretch out to 3 as well. And you'll see from this mare, she's been very high class in producing horses not only here, not only in Abu Dhabi, but also in Japan, which has some of the most important and competitive racing in the world. So she's a very, very good mare. She won the Lauda. She was a Group 1 winner herself. And by a top stallion like Maymas looking like this, he could be an absolute flying machine.
Maymas is the sire of Believing. He sired 5 stakes winners to Danehill line mares, including Believing, and also Minzal, Group 1 winner. He leads the 2024 2-year-old European sire table with 57 winners at 40% to runners. The next best is Kodiak with 37 winners. So he's a seriously successful sire. His stock were in great demand at the sales. But I'm thrilled to bits that we bought this fella who is out of a Group 1 winner and a half-brother to a group winner. So if this fella hits, he is going to be extremely valuable as a stallion prospect. So a lovely son of Mekmas, and there are a handful of shares left in him at 16,850 a share. 16,850 a share. Rafe Beckett, who's obviously had a phenomenal season this year, will train him. Gorgeous colt. Thank you. Now then, on to the Chestnut. The Chestnut syndicate. Roger Varian is going to train this very important daughter of No Nay Never. We've seen the son of No Nay Never going to Andrew Balding. Now you're going to see a filly when she comes out. And as I say, Roger Varian, who of course won the big mile race yesterday at Ascot with Charon, had another very brilliant year. This filly cost 155,000 guineas, and she obviously cost that for a reason. Remember how much we said the average was in book 1 and book 2. And here you've got a daughter of No Nay Never with a phenomenal family. The dam is a daughter of Long Lashes, group winner. The dam won is by Shamadal. Jake, just to explain the importance of Shamadal as a broodmare sire.
Yeah, Shamadal has become probably one of the most influential broodmare sires out there at the moment. You see him all the time. When we're breeding horses, very much we tend to look at the broodmare sires. They become a very important influence into the progeny. The top line of the stallion is what most people talk about, but we're always looking at the broodmare sires. There aren't very many of them that do ever make it up to the top level. So to be talked about is not an easy feat, but Shamadal is certainly one of those. He injects a huge amount of speed and strength, but he also doesn't prohibit horses staying a trip. So he's a very versatile broodmare sire. And with No Nay Never, I think this is really exciting because No Nay, he's obviously a sire of precocity and speed, and Shamadal, he can inject that too. And this filly looks very, very hardy. And I use that expression because she's very tight formed, athletic, lithe. She's got a great head to her. She's an important filly. She's got a good eye as well. When you stand up next to her, She looks at you like she means business. She doesn't jolt away. She's got a really good sort of aura around her, and I really noticed that when we went to go and see her quite a few times. She's not afraid of anything. She behaved very, very well in the prelims. You know, she was 150,000 in book 2. I think if she was in book 1, we wouldn't have been able to afford her. But she looks really, really racy. I'd say she'd be on for a race with William and the Grey filly to get to Royal Ascot, because that's exactly what she's there to do. She's a fast, hardy filly, and I think she'll be a lot of fun.
Well, we ask a friend of mine who's a pedigree expert to look at all of the pedigrees, and he does some wonderful notes for me, which I've got here, but we'd be sitting here till mid-afternoon if I told you all that. But he was absolutely ecstatic about this filly and the various crosses. Shamadel, the dam sire of 117 stakes winners worldwide, including this year's Grand Prix de Paris winner, Sosi, and King George winner, Goliath. No Nay Never's stellar year, and 8 stakes winners this year for No Nay Never, including Whistle Jacket, the Rockfell Stakes winner, Bubbling, and Truly Enchanting. He's a world-class sire with 60 career Northern Hemisphere stakes winners. So, yeah, what an exciting filly. Certainly one that my nephew was not going to leave the sale without, and in some ways I'm rather relieved that we got her for 155,000, because I might have gone on a bit, as they say. So, thrilling filly. Couple of shares available in her and Roger Varian trains. Right, thank you. Look at her. Look how powerful. Look at that quarter. So No Nay Never, Jake, isn't it?
It really is, yeah, absolutely. And we love to see that similarity of father and progeny, but absolutely exactly what she's meant to be. Very sharp, very fast, and I think, you know, really exciting filly. She was a nap.
Marvellous. Right, on we go to the, what syndicate's the next one? The Maple. And we're going to see another Mecmas, a daughter of Mecmas this time. You saw the colt just now. And now you're going to see a filly, pretty important filly, cost 160,000 guineas. This is a 15-share syndicate at £18,250 a share. George Bowie trains. He knows all about Mecmas fillies. Mecmas, of course, the sire of Believing. There's 1 share available in this filly. She's out of an Oasis Dream mare, who's been a phenomenal broodmare sire. The dam is a half-sister to Twice Over, with multiple Group 1 winner. Wonderful family. This is the Juddmonte family of Passage of Time and Timepiece and Time Test. So, Jake, talk us through this gorgeous daughter of Mecmas.
Well, before we talk about the physical, I just want to enlighten you a little bit about the family and the farm that she came from, and a bit about the story, because Dennis Brosnan, who bred Mecmas himself at Croom House, he found this mare in Keeneland. He went over there looking for British pedigrees that were out in the wrong environment, and to bring them back and place them back in Europe and start breeding back to proper grass stallions over here and trying to reinvigorate the pedigree. So he was a very smart buy, finding this mare out in Keeneland and bringing her back, hence why she had been to American Pharoah and Kitten's Joy before coming to Mecmas. But obviously it's one of the best Juddmonte families. You look at the horses here, they're all household names, Twice Over, Passage of Time, wonderful, wonderful horses. And he chose to send this mare back to Mecmas as a top breeder. I mean, he's bred unbelievable amounts of high-class Group 1 horses, Zoffany, Rostropovich, etc. So they're a phenomenal outfit. We bought Foundation from them a few years ago, and they always produce high-class horses. So they really, really know what they're doing as breeders, which commands a huge amount of respect. But then when this filly came out and we looked at her and we saw her physical, we saw the sheer size and importance of her with her pedigree, her head and outlook, the depth that she has. We talked about the depth earlier on, but truthfully, it's where the engine is in the horse. There's often a misconception about in racing when you hear a commentator talking about a horse flying down the outside. More often than not, what's happening is the horses in front are slowing down. The oxygen isn't getting to the muscles, and the horses are tiring. It's the horses that can sustain the gallop that can keep driving to the finish line. And more often than not, that comes from horses with great fronts and powerful chests to be able to process that oxygen. And this filly was just a phenomenal individual with a top-class pedigree, which, quite frankly, I thought we had no hope in hell in buying. But being an auction system, we managed to get her, and obviously we knew the man to train her.
Yeah, and guess who was on the phone? I see you bought that Mecmas filly. Yes. I thought she was gorgeous and wondered where you were sending her. Well, thank God for believing.
Well, I don't usually pick up the phone or go and chase Harry down because everyone's been so good to me sending nice horses. But she was, I bought a filly who looks very like her in book one, and Jake was there trying to buy the other filly, and I think I possibly might have overpaid for the other filly, and this looks like the real deal to me. I was
Believing has that length, doesn't she? It's important.
Absolutely,
and I realise she's not a little sort of butty thing.
The thing that through the winter from a 2-year-old that persuaded us to go Nell Gwyn and enter believing in the guineas and look that way was her length. She's by a sire who's by acclamation, and obviously Mecmas is here, and I think she's going to be a fast filly. She's a 2-year-old for sure, but she has that depth of pedigree now that twice over down there, and it would not surprise me if she was able to get over a bit more ground, but I think she's going to be probably the more forward of the two that we've got this year, and very exciting.
Well, best of luck with her.
Cool. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you very much. Lovely daughter of Mecmas. Just a couple of shares left in her. I think I'm right in saying. Charlie will let you know. At £18,250 a share. It's a 15-share syndicate. 18,250 a share. Now then, the grand finale. Who wants to win the Derby? Me, with the pale blue. Done it with the Royal Ascot Racing Club, and we've had runners in the Derby before, which is incredibly exciting. But this fella is really, really special. He is by See the Stars. He costs 200,000 guineas. This is our most exclusive syndicate. Only 12 shares in this syndicate. And £25,950, £25,950 a share. William Haggis will train him, who's trained so many good See the Stars. See the Stars himself is a remarkable stallion. He's had 18 stakes winners this year, 18, headed by Grand Prix de Paris winner Sosie, Group 2 winner Sweet William, and many, many others. And of course, if you look at the pedigree in front of you, you'll see that See the Stars has really clicked with this Dam's line. Reach for the Moon, this is the Queen's pedigree, who might have been Derby favourite. I think after he won the, what did he win? The Solario Stakes. And Chalk Stream, Phantom Gold, this is the Queen's wonderful family, Jake. Just tell us about it, because he was born and bred here at Highclere.
Yes, this horse was born and bred at Highclere Stud. We bred him in partnership with Mrs. Choi, who owns the stallion. So we own this horse 50-50. The mare we've had at Highclere Stud, and my father knew a lot about the family, as you can see. He was very much involved in breeding those horses for the late Queen, and so we know the family very, very well. Hence the decision to send her to See the Stars and try and replicate what's happened with Reach for the Moon and Chalk Stream. But he's a most beautiful individual. He really is exactly what you want to see from a Derby prospect. That length of rein, quality about them, bit of lightness, not too heavy if they've got to stay a trip and they've got to go that distance. They don't want to be burdened with too much heavy muscle. They need to have that elegance about them as well. But a hugely quality individual. And I think I would say, he was 12th lot in the ring at book one. So it was very, very early on in the sale. And we were very keen that this horse went to book one. We thought he'd make a very big price. And it's just the way that auctions work, that he got in early, and we were able to buy him for the syndicates for 200. Because I think if he was later on in the sale, he would have made a lot more. The sire average is north of 500,000. So it was an amazing buy and a really, really quality horse that we know a huge amount about. He was born and raised here. We know him very, very well. He vetted him very clean, and he's going to be a great athlete, and we're really excited about him.
Well, See the Stars, sire of Baid, Stradivarius, C. La Rosa, I mean, so many, it's unbelievable. And See the Stars has had 14 stakes winners to daughters of Dane Hill. So, William, take your time.
It's a bit more like it, Harry. Well, I can't tell you enough about See the Stars. He's one of the great stallions, and he's been particularly lucky for us, so I'm absolutely thrilled to have this fella. And he doesn't look too big and cumbersome. He looks very electric and lively, and who knows, by the first Saturday in June of 2026, we could all be there.
February foal.
Yeah, don't keep saying this, get on with them. It's very unnerving for me.
No, it is exciting. I mean, I love this type of horse. I think to have a middle distance horse is really exciting. And to be honest, I think all of us in racing, we have a dream of winning a King George or a Derby or an Arc or, you know, these races. And I think it's legitimate to dream with a horse bred, William, like this from the family, that late Queen's family. This is the whole point of ownership, really.
Yeah, a lot of stamina. The third dam, Phantom Gold, won the Ribblesdale, so this horse is going to stay. That won't be a problem for him, and he looks the part. He doesn't really like this tent, though.
No, I think it's getting under, the wind's opened up a little bit at the back there. Well,
I hope it's the tent and not me, anyway.
Oh, he's a gorgeous colt. Thanks, William. Best of luck with him. So there we go. Look at him. What a beauty. Oh, my word. Yeah, the sires, yearlings averaged over 400,000 in Book 1 once the sale got motoring. So there's no question. Sadly for Mrs. Choi and Jake and the team here would have made a lot more, and we wouldn't have afforded him. But we got him. He's in the bag. He's in our most exclusive syndicate. And for those of you who want to dream on of Derby, this is a horse for you. Great stuff. So that concludes the parade. We'll just get him away for a moment as the rain lashes down. It's not cold out here, by the way. It's absolutely but I'd just like to say a big thank you to the stud staff. They've been working their you-know-whats off for the last 2-3 weeks in preparing Highclere's yearlings. They're up at 4 in the morning and they're not finished till the sale finishes. It's a tough old season. And then we have our parades. So I'm going to ask Alex to present a Methuselah of champagne for them to guzzle at the appropriate time. Guys, thank you very much indeed. As always, you're welcome to view the yearlings in their boxes, but you enter the stables at your own risk. I think you all know that by now.
I'm going to go in front now.
So come on down and have a really good look at the horses. Such fun seeing them up close, and you can get an idea exactly of what they're like. And those trainers here will be lurking near their charges, so grill them with any questions that you might have. And when you're done with that, where is Charlie's around somewhere? Where's Charlie? Where are you going? Charlie will be in that stable, should you wish to attack her and let her know which horse you'd like to buy a share in, or horses. But thank you very much indeed for braving the elements. And once you're done here, we'll have a yummy lunch down in the marquee. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's so not cold though.
I know.